We've been developing landscape design software for some 20 years, and our first product was this landscape design tool that you see at the left of screen, and it's called GardenCAD. After working with that and supporting it for maybe 10 years, we decided to move away and stop development of it and move to gCADPlus. And you see the same drawing on the right-hand side of the screen viewing it with gCADPlus, and on the left viewing it in GardenCAD. We've had a request from someone who's been using GardenCAD, our earlier program, since 2014, and here we are in 2024, and she's been using it satisfactorily for 10 years and wants to know, should she change and upgrade and move to gCADPlus? So what I'm trying to do here is just show you the main differences between the two programs. Well, if you've been using gCADPlus, you'll know that if you want to present this design, it's just a matter of going to Format and Layout and create a layout quickly. And if I move to a layout, there we are. And if I pick the floating viewport, which is created automatically, I can see the view scale here is 51, and to set that view into the design is now a 1:50 design. Let's come across here into GardenCAD, and if we wanted to present that design on, say, an A3 sheet at a scale of 1:50, we can move and create a page. And I've created this landscape one, and even there that fails because I have to select the page first and OK it. That moves to a blank sheet. Let me select the page again and go back to model. In order to present the design on that A3 sheet, I have to grab it and right click and make a block of it, and then switch to the newly created layout and paste it. So let's create a block, and we'll give it a name of temp, and we'll have a base point down at the bottom left, and we'll say OK. Now, and remember, we're still in GardenCAD. We select a page, the landscape one is an A3 sheet, and now we paste that block. So we go, I might be a little bit rusty here, we can't do a clipboard paste, so we need to find our blocks command. You can see how rusty I am. I think it's blocks in GardenCAD, and we call that block temp, and we want to insert it and OK it. We'd have to produce a scale at that point. So the block's gone in, but we can't see it. If I zoom extents, it'll be way off the sheet somewhere. Here it is, and there's the design, and I'd need to then scale that down by, and there we'll make the base point there 0.02, and then we can move the, whoops, that's scaling. I need to move and pop that in. Now we can zoom extents. And if we now go back to selecting the page and go back to the model, and we change things in the design, let's pick, and well, now we have to explode, and let's pick, say, this tall tree, and we haven't got a properties box showing, so we don't even know its name. Can we edit it on the fly? And we can't, and that's what we've been used to doing. Whereas if we come back over here into the model, pick it, right click, edit the block, we're jumping in here and we can make any changes we want. My point being, you could find a way to edit that block. I think, let's go back to the blocks command. In here, here's our edit tool. So we can jump in. We're editing the whole block now. We need to get properties up, don't we? Here's properties. So it's called plant symbol 01. Can we edit that as well? No, we have to go back into the blocks command. Now that we know, that slipped my mind. Now that we know it's plant symbol 01, we may well, with the blocks command, be able to get in there. Metric symbol 01. We can edit it. No, that's another. I got the wrong one, I think. But if I said I want that filled now, I'd have to confess that I'm a little lost here of editing the block. What I was hoping to show was that any change that I make, I have to go through the whole process again, forming the block, and reloading it, redoing it. Whereas here, as you know, we grab the block and make a change. We'll fill it, yes, and close the block editor, and we're out. So we've filled that one. Now in gCADPlus, we can go back in there, edit that block, change its color to say green, and we can change the transparency, and we'll make it 50. And close the block editor, and there we have a see-through symbol showing the upper canopy. When we eventually work out how to get back to see the whole picture, even a regen doesn't do what I want. I think I'm stuck inside the editor. So to summarize at this point, the main reason to change is to give you that much smoother workflow where any change that you make here is immediately shown in your layout space without the need to remake it in GardenCAD. So that'll be my first main reason for making the change. I would admit that the interface is going to look quite different if we come in here. One thing about GardenCAD here is that the interface is very crisp and clean. The symbols look really great, whereas here they're not quite as sharp, and that's something we haven't been able to fix with the help of our programmers in gCADPlus. So I could go on. I've got a little list here. Your properties box is difficult to access in GardenCAD. It's always start with a dark background, whereas in gCADPlus we can quickly change the color of the background. Many more tools are available to you in the gCADPlus environment. As for the sake of argument, you can still work with a plant database file, and you can still make an automated plant schedule with the tool, but we've got lots more tools. These have all been added over time from requests of users. They want to be able to search for a particular symbol, show a tag, apply a code to the center of all objects. Well, in the GardenCAD drop-down plant tagging and plant list, we have some of the facilities, but not all. Well, so far I've been batting for gCADPlus, but there are some features in GardenCAD that we would love to be able to incorporate in gCADPlus, but have not yet been able to do so. For the sake of argument, GardenCAD handles layers in a really interesting way. Here's our usual layers dialog box, but it's also got an ability to swap layers around, the stacking order of layers. I can move layer 0. Whoops. No, I can't. I can move what I did then was turn that off. I can move the construction layer up and pop it at the top. I could move a shadow layer down. This is how Photoshop works with its layers. You can just change the stacking order. So there are some features in GardenCAD that are very, very handy. I think if I were in the shoes of the user who's asked us, should she upgrade or not, I'd probably say that if you're comfortable with GardenCAD, you've been using it for 10 years, you paid $50 for it, and had $5 a year use out of it, and that's great value, probably stick with it. You may not have been trying to use the Pages palette. You may simply be plotting directly from model space, and you're happy with the way that, say, the library works in the plant selector. So it's organized. If you put in a tall tree, it'll be fairly lightly drawn and help the upper canopy, whereas we're using transparency in the gCADPlus environment. So I'd probably question the value of trying to learn a new interface when, if you've managed it for this period of time, I'd probably stick with it.